Hey family, it's Dr. Marissa Johnson and Happy Wine Therapy Wednesday. This episode is titled A Mother's Struggle and Strength. We're talking about postpartum depression today. 1 in 8 women experience postpartum depression either during their pregnancy or after. And it's something that most women don't talk about and they tend to struggle in silence. But today, I have 2 beautiful, strong women that are here to talk about their challenge as they dealt with postpartum depression. Now, before we get started, we do want to introduce the wine of today. And the wine of today is a Mascarilla wine from Ermarose Winery here in Houston, Texas. So get your wine glasses together and let's talk about it. Alecia Jordan and Miss Marissa Trey, I want to first thank y'all for being on the show with me to discuss postpartum depression and a mother's struggle and her strength. So before we get started, I do have to do my new tradition by putting the corkscrew of our wine of the day inside of our corkscrew holder. So thank y'all for being here for that. Yes. All right, so the first question I want to know is, how did you know that you were dealing with postpartum depression? We'll start with Miss Alecia first. Yeah,
I think with me it was later on, because I heard so much about postpartum prior to giving birth, to where I knew, I guess I thought that I would never have to experience it, because I thought I was stronger than that, or I would know to where I would be able to adapt.
Because you heard so much about it.
Right. Yeah. So it was a little bit later, after I gave birth, and I just hit this bump in the road to where I was just always down, always crying, always sad for no reason at all. And so I could be just sitting with my husband watching TV or doing absolutely nothing, and I would just break down.
Yeah, they said one of the signs is continuous sadness, just being down, crying, and you kind of dealt with that for how long?
I don't know exactly how long, but I know it was just it was on and off. It was on and off. Some days it was all day, almost. Some days it wasn't any at all. So it was kind of on and off for me. I would definitely say my experience with it, I think there's levels to it for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think my experience wasn't as severe as mothers I've talked to and I've heard, but definitely experienced it for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Ms. Marissa?
The first time was probably within 2 months of giving birth. One of my best friends came down from Dallas to visit us, and it was my first time kind of really being out of the house, out of my environment, and realizing I am way out of my depth. We went out to dinner, and I cried the entire dinner.
What triggered your crying? You just cried? Just to cry, or?
She asked me how things were going, and I finally got to verbalize how things were going. I talk a lot. So in the midst of me word vomiting, I was like, oh, this is what they warn you about. Oh, is this postpartum? Not me.
Yeah, not me.
Not me.
You felt the same way, like that, because you felt like you knew.
Yeah, I'm stronger than this. I'm better than this. Like, I'm not going. I always felt like, because they do all throughout your pregnancy, your OB, everyone around you warns you of this is what could come, and you're so hyper aware of it, but you don't realize you're living it until you have that. Oh shoot, is this postpartum? And then I suppressed it.
Okay, did you suppress yours a little bit?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree. I think I think I was in denial about it. When I realized I was going through it, I was like, no, not me.
Not me.
No. I said, no, I got this under control.
Exactly.
It's no way. It's no way. But then I had no control over it.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing ever.
So what would trigger you with crying? I know you had a conversation, I think, just talking about certain things maybe triggered it.
Yeah.
So what triggered yours? Like you said you would be at home just watching TV and you just start crying.
It'll just hit me. It'll just hit me. But I also had I had it really bad, just not being present in the moment and always thinking about the past, how my life was before having my daughter.
Dang.
And then thinking about the future as far as, every time a woman has a child, people say, oh, when you're having another one.
Yeah.
And just the thought of having another one and going through that again. it triggered it for me.
So basically you had those thoughts, like, not saying they were negative, but you had thoughts that were not something that was healthy for you at that moment to think about, right? So thinking about your past, like, this is what I was like when I didn't have a kid. I was living life, man. I got a baby, I'm tied down. Okay, so I get that, make a lot of sense. And some people actually do go through those transitional thoughts. And what else triggered you? Like, what other effects did you have?
So that was the beginning of it. I just got to a point that I was in a perpetual sadness for no reason, or what I felt like was no reason. I was full of joy to welcome a child, to have an easy pregnancy, easy birth experience, and be surrounded, literally surrounded by family and friends and help and all the things that ideally one would need to have a successful transition into a first-time parent. But I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
One, I struggle asking for help. That's the biggest thing that I think led to my postpartum, is that I don't know how to ask. At the time, I didn't, and I still struggle a little bit, but I didn't know how to ask for help. But even when people would offer help, I'm like, oh no, I'm okay. I got it.
Yeah, I'm strong. I got it.
I got it. We're good. And just like, and then I'm like,
your soul crying out, I need help for real. Yeah.
But my family would show up at my door.
So you had support. It ain't like you didn't have support.
Not like, I remember coming home. I told them, give us a week. I don't want to have no company. Child, we got home with that baby, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Right.
Jesus. One cousin was showing me how to use my breast pump. Another cousin was doing laundry and holding the baby, and just, I remember crying in those first days home, like, how are we gonna do this? So just the overwhelmingness of it all. I would find myself for no reason, like AJ said, she'd be watching TV and you just
get sad, and it just drops on you.
It's a feeling of hopelessness, and you don't see a way out of it.
That's deep. That's crazy.
Like, it is the darkest place I've ever been in my life during one of the happiest times.
I was just gonna bring that up. They say baby is joy, like, you know, y'all get joy after the pain or whatnot. And so you had your baby, all this is joy, this is what I've been waiting on, blah blah blah. And when you feel that depression, you can't even show up for your baby the way you want. With some people, I know I did research, and some women, they was like, I couldn't even be there for my child the first few months or the first year because I dealt with depression, so I feel like I wasn't the best mom. And how did the postpartum depression affect you as a parent? Like, we you know, we hear the crying, the sadness, but as a parent, how did you treat your child? Were you there?
I felt extremely disconnected from her, and that would break my heart. But what helped me was I was nursing. I was so blessed to be able to breastfeed my daughter for as long as I wanted to. But some days I wouldn't produce. My milk supply would drop because of my emotional well-being. I didn't feel attached to my child. So when she would latch, I would feel so guilty that I wasn't giving her enough milk to get full because of what I'm silently struggling with internally. I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my mama. I didn't tell my cousins. I didn't tell my aunt. I didn't tell my support system. I didn't tell my friends that I was going through this because I kept telling myself, you tripping.
Yeah.
This is normal. You just had this baby. You've been growing this child. All these hormones, because you spend this time building up your body to support pregnancy, and then you give birth, and then your body has to go through this rapid transformation of returning to pre-pregnancy normalcy. So that's really that imbalance within you, on top of all of the responsibilities.
Yeah, because your roles never stop. You're a wife, and then your mom still got a job, you got other responsibilities, so none of that stops.
It does not stop. I felt sad. I felt guilty. I felt like I was not being the mother that I thought I was going to be.
Dang. What about you?
For me, I would definitely say it was the opposite, because when I was a baby, I was a crier. All I did was cry.
Yeah, your baby don't cry. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing.
She not cry. Oh no.
So I was a crier. I wasn't nice. I wasn't friendly. Even pictures that my mom would show me growing up, I would be crying on the pictures. Like, I have no good pictures as a child. I don't even know how I looked because she said I would just break down and cry all the time. So they didn't even take my pictures.
Right.
So before I had my daughter, I said she will not be like that. I am going to have a happy baby. She is going to be friendly. She's going to be just a vibrant child.
She is that too.
And so I told myself, like, no matter how I'm feeling, I'm bringing good energy around her. No matter how. So it's been many mornings where I would be just at my lowest. I just got done crying. Or I'm just like, I'm just done. I'm over. I have nothing else to give. But as soon as I open her bedroom door, I'm like, hey, I'm excited.
Yes. Were you really excited, or did you just put your face on?
Absolutely not. I had to put the face on because I knew I didn't want that energy to bleed over into her, because I feel like babies do feel that
100%.
And so I said, I don't want her to feel how I feel. And so every morning, literally every day since she's been born, I have came in her room excited. I've been happy around, and you can tell now that she's here, she's a happy baby. She's very friendly, and
she really is.
That's been my goal from day one. So I've just been battling through it so that I could be better for her.
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
is very admirable.
It is.
It
Yeah.
is. And it was infancy. I feel like I tried to be that person, but knowing my emotional struggles, especially with my own mother in my childhood, I have strived so much, and I realized that didn't work for me. So now I'm trying to teach my kid emotional awareness, and it works so much better for me. So when I'm having a bad day, now she's 3, so I can tell her, mommy just need a minute. But when they're 3 weeks old,
no,
you can't say that. They don't understand.
Not that they care, really.
Nor do they care. I want to be held. I need my diaper changed. I need some milk. And I need your daddy. I need him. Where is he?
Right.
I need some help.
Speaking
of daddies, sleep. Y'all doing the work. No, I'm just playing. But literally, both of y'all were married. Both of y'all had y'all spouse there. Your child's father. And did they notice? The question is, did they notice y'all signs though? Because some people can't pick it up, especially if you put your face on. You probably can't tell if somebody got their face on. So did your husband notice that you were kind of dealing with sadness and depression?
I would say the only time he did notice is because if I'm watching TV and I break down crying, he's right there and he sees it. And so he wouldn't say anything. He would just get up and he'll come and hold me.
Oh, that's sweet.
Really sweet.
He wouldn't say anything. And that's just what it was. I think that he knew, but I also know he didn't know what to say.
Yeah, a lot of men
know
don't.
how to react, so he would just hold me, and that was just it.
Too sweet. What about you? That was so sweet, Red.
That is really sweet.
Yeah.
I hid it from my husband. So
Yeah, put your face on all the time.
I put my face on all the time. I'm so used to putting on a face that I put on a face. It wasn't until I started struggling with postpartum, probably around 2 months postpartum, and I did not ask for help or acknowledge that I was struggling with postpartum until 6 to 7 months postpartum. So I struggled silently for 4 months.
That's a long time to deal with that.
It was. And I did not realize how detrimental it was to me, to my child. He wasn't my husband at the time. And then those feelings of being engaged and I don't want you to marry me because I didn't have this baby. If you don't want to be with me, don't be with me. And then just the dynamics of a relationship that you're not married. You have zero obligation to be married. But now we have this kid. And then just like things would come up in our lives and be like, go! If you don't want to be here, leave!
They married that by the way.
We are happily married now, but then you can go. But that baby's staying right here with me. Just know that. So no, it wasn't until actually after a really, really, really bad blow up, y'all. I thought I was losing my man and my baby in the same night.
Okay, what made you feel like that?
He told me I was unfit. And he was taking my baby to Dallas for him and his mama to raise.
What was why did he say that? What was going on at home?
Oh, I can't remember exactly how it started, but to make a long story short, I was struggling. I was struggling so badly. The biggest trigger for me was returning to work. So I, at the time, didn't have, first of all, my particular benefits. If you have a vaginal birth, you get 8 weeks. Plus, my insurance required that you take 2 weeks of PTO while they work out the insurance stuff. So I basically had 10 weeks paid out at 60%. We were young. We just simply didn't have the money for me to take 12 weeks or 3 months, or, well, that is 3 months. An extended period of time that truly is necessary when you are a new mother. I had to go back to work. So his mom came and stayed with us for 2 weeks while I transitioned back into work before we put her into daycare. I never wanted to put my daughter in daycare. Yeah. Going back to work really was a trigger for me. Really. So dealing with those things on top of now trying to, y'all, I would be getting ready for work, double pump, like hands-free bra, getting dressed, nurse her before I get dressed, finish pumping while I'm getting dressed, out the door, getting back to work. It was just too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
On top of maintaining a household and having a fiance at the time who was extremely spoiled by my doing. And trying to get him to see that I need help without asking for the help.
Because you know you got a problem with asking. You already said that.
Because I have a problem with asking. And I feel like if you love me and you see that these clothes need to be washed, you see this, you see this, you see this, help me.
So those are your signs of saying I need help. My clothes, yeah.
I didn't ask though. So I think he wanted to go out with his friends. Let's say that was it. It was probably was it because that was a big thing at the time. And I was just like, no. Turned into a big fight, y'all. A huge fight. To the point that my now husband took his phone out to record me. Because I really do think that he was fearful in that moment. That I was so outside of my normal self. I didn't feel like myself truly. But what pushed me that far was that whatever the argument was, he told me he was taking the baby.
If somebody just that's like hard to deal with somebody saying I'm taking your baby from you because right now
my baby.
Yeah, that you have.
Now granted, that's our child. That's half his baby, that's half my baby. I carried that child. I birthed her into this world. I literally feed her from my body. She wasn't on formula. Every single need that she has, I felt like in my mind. I provide to her. I sacrifice for her. And you, what?
You gonna take her?
You gonna take my baby? Y'all. So he's upstairs. We have a banister in our house. He's upstairs holding the baby. I'm downstairs at the bottom of the staircase, literally pacing back and forth. I remember it, saying, if you think you finna take my baby, you're gonna have to go through me. You're gonna have to fight me. So put that baby down and we're gonna go toe to toe. Y'all, my husband is 6'2", 200 plus pounds. I told this man to fight me.
But I do have a question. So y'all already going through postpartum depression, then your husband not knowing, you know, a lot of men don't know how to deal with that or even know anything about it, and him saying like because he don't understand, he think that you're unfit. Does that make you feel even more sense of guilt, like guilt because I have postpartum depression and now you're trying to say I can't take care of my baby? So am I doing like what are your feelings?
No. At no point in any of that did I feel guilty or feel unfit. I thought he was out of his mind. How dare you fix your mouth to say, I'm unfit? How dare you? But, so he did try to take the baby. Like he put the baby in the car seat, left the house, like 2 o'clock in the morning. Left the house with the baby, but he ain't had no gas, y'all. Following him in my car to the gas station. He got to stop and get gas. I get out of my car. We had just bought that car too, and we co-signed on it. And so it's really his car too. I don't care. I'm gonna leave this car at this gas station. Hopped in the car. I don't have no shoes on, y'all. It is a real life thing of realizing, and in the midst of all of that, realizing I am not okay.
Yeah. Even in the midst of it, in the midst of that, you.
So that was my time of realizing and finally telling him. So I got in his car and I was like, listen, if you don't want to be with me, that's fine. That is okay. I can live with that. But what I cannot live with is you taking my child from me. Wherever she go, I go. So if you think you're gonna drive my baby to Dallas, I'm in this car too. You can leave, but understand that she stays with me. We all went home. I slept in the guest room. The next day I got myself together and told him and my doctor, I'm not okay. I am really not okay. And we were able to start taking steps forward from there. But it took all of that for us to make any progress.
Yeah. So I know a lot of men don't know what to do as it relates to their wife, girlfriend, whatever, and they may be dealing with postpartum depression. From your experience, what advice could you give a man to help a woman who's going through postpartum depression? Maybe what signs to look for too, if possible, if you can think of that, Alecia.
I would say it's a lot. It's a lot. But I would say read the room. Like, pay attention. Pay attention. Don't be so caught up in whatever you're doing, what you got going on, because this is more serious.
Yeah.
This is more serious. Pay attention to your wife, or your girlfriend. Watch the signs. Don't call her out for being emotional, like you said, but look up at ways in which you can help. So ask her how she's feeling. What can you do to make the situation better? What can you do to make her day easier? Can you wake up throughout the night with the baby instead of her waking up 5 times, 6 times throughout the night?
Yeah.
Can you wash the dishes? Can you clean wash the clothes? Can you assist in any way to make her life easier? Because it is a huge change and huge responsibility when you become a mother, and especially when you're breastfeeding too, because that's another full-time job on top of what you're doing. Yeah. So I would say just pay attention and communicate. Communication is number one, and that's on both ends. Yeah. Because I too struggled with asking for help. Yeah. And I thought he would read my mind. I thought he would just be able to see, be able to see I'm struggling and assist. Yeah. But no. He would see that I'm struggling, but I would make it look so good. I would make it look so easy. And he said it himself. Okay. I would tell him, like, look, this is how I feel. This is what I'm going through. He was like, but you make it look so easy. I didn't think anything was wrong. Right. So can I blame him for not knowing anything was wrong when I sit here and I'm, you really doing your best. Yeah, you put your face on, doing your thing. Making it look good when it's not. Yeah. When it's not at all. So communication is number one, honestly, and just looking for ways, not waiting to be told what to do, but look for ways in which that you can help and make life easier for everyone. Just being able to assist. And I like what you said about read the room, because I thought about what you said about it's clothes on, I need to do the laundry, do this. If you have a woman and you know that she clean and you know she gonna, like, everything is already in place, this and that, and you start to see, like, this girl ain't washed dishes in 2 days. What's going on? That should be like a sign to read the room to say something must be wrong. Let me pick up what she not doing, because I know this is not her usual. Or whatnot, or waking up in the middle of the night. I agree with that. It's not always your job. That's a lot. That helps you out a lot, because you're already tired. You have to deal with the baby all day. What advice you got?
AJ said it. Really, that's it. The biggest thing I think is communication, like you said, on both ends. Had I communicated when I first started to feel those feelings, we probably wouldn't have made it so close to the edge. So, really just that. I mean, understanding that we do have more responsibility than the men do. I remember when I got pregnant, my aunt told me, that is your baby. Regardless of what he decides to do, that is always going to be your child. Always. Men can choose when and how they want to show up. And I was just like, I don't have that kind of man. She don't know what she's talking about.
Right, you got to worry about that.
She knew exactly what she was talking about. Exactly what she was talking about. And more so in a way of, and I resented him that he had leisure.
Yeah, more free time.
That's the one right there.
That's good you brought that up. You resented him a little bit, like, dude, you can go out here and do whatever, and I just got to be home with the baby all the time.
I can't leave for more than 2 hours, or I'm literally at HEB, y'all. I'm at HEB checking out with groceries, and I start leaking, and the cashier is like, ma'am, and I just got these big wet circles on my breast. And I started crying at the grocery store because I can't leave the kid for more than 2 hours because my body naturally knows it's time to feed her.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, me and y'all got to step it up now. Help us out some, okay? Steve, you got that, producer?
You got that?
All right. Last thing, I know you said that you were put on antidepressants to kind of help out with, you know, that was kind of way to help you out with postpartum depression. What was something that helped you?
Just honestly, I just took it upon myself to just really reflect and think about and think about what I think about. So I literally sat one day and I was like, why am I feeling so bad? And so I sat and I thought, I'm like, okay, where has my mind been all day? Where has my focus been all day? And it's been all negative. What's my husband not doing? Why I don't have the freedom I used to have? Why my body looks nothing like how it looked before I had the child? Just negative stuff all day, and that just alters your mood, your day, your perspective on everything. It's just negative.
Yep.
And so that's what really, I sat down and I reflected on, you know, how I felt, what I was thinking about, and I changed those thoughts, and slowly but surely things started to get better. I communicated a lot more. So so Reggie, he's in line right now.
Yeah.
He's in line. He washing dishes. He washing clothes. He's changing. He's doing what he needs to do, because I sat down and I said, no more. No more. We have to talk about it. We have to communicate, and we got to figure this thing out, because mentally I can't go any further like this. So.
And I want to say that my doctor did prescribe me antidepressants, but again, me feeling like I'm stronger than this, I'm better than this, and I don't want, because I was exclusively nursing, I don't want any of that antidepressant, any of those chemicals to pass on to my child, that I never took a single pill. What AJ just said, I changed my mind frame. I fought so hard for me. I started communicating with my husband. I started telling him, these are the things that I need. This is what I need to be okay. And when I didn't feel like doing something, I just didn't do it.
Ooh, that part.
Because I think you feel like you're forced to. Yeah, you feel like I gotta do this. If I don't, it's like, okay, it's gonna be an issue, or it's gonna be feeling guilty, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it.
I just didn't do it. And I ended up, the insurance company sent something to get rid of the pills, but I never took a single pill. And granted, I'm not saying that that postpartum depression is all mental. I am not saying that at all. It is a real thing that sometimes you cannot just, it's not in your head.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're making up or that you're putting yourself into. That is a real thing. But for us, we were able to shift our mindset and have the support of our husbands. That is, I think, the crucial part for them to make the necessary adjustments to provide the support necessary to pull us out of the place that we were in. That's what I think.
I got you. I appreciate that. So we have women today who are dealing with it, and probably right now they're struggling in silence. What advice would you give a woman who's dealing with postpartum depression today? We'll start with you, Marissa, and then we'll close up with Miss Alecia.
You are not alone. You are nowhere near alone. It is not your fault. There is not anything that you could be doing better. You are doing everything right. Everything within your power that you're supposed to do. Trust your body. Know that when you see the signs, when you feel that feeling inside of you that says, I'm sad, whatever it is that is off from your normal behavior, say something. Whether it be whoever your safe person is, if it's your husband, your boyfriend, your baby daddy, your mother, your father, your best friend, tell somebody. Your doctor, tell someone. The second I call my doctor, they told me come in today, come in right now, because they know that it is serious. There are so many things that could turn negatively from the feelings that we are internalizing. Tell somebody. And start to figure out what it is that you need, because only you know what you need. Communicate those things and make sure you're getting the help. If you're surrounded by people that are not getting you that help, find people that are willing to. You have a tribe, find your tribe. There are tons and tons and tons of avenues that you can seek to be able to find your help. It does get better. You don't live in this state of sadness forever. Find that hope in your child. If that's all you have to live for that baby. And that it gets better.
All right, Miss Alecia.
That was it. That was it. There's nothing I can add to what you just said.
Yeah.
Everything that she just said, literally.
Yeah. To the mouthful. I think from y'all experience, I believe that our viewers have learned a lot. And if you are dealing with postpartum depression, reach out. They've gave good advice today. Their stories, like them being transparent, that's what we want for wine therapy. That's what we want for you ladies to understand, like, you're not alone. We're going through it too, and we're here to help. So be sure to reach out for help today. Thank y'all for being here, and we will see you all on the next wine therapy. If you or someone that you know is dealing with postpartum depression at this time, here are a few tips that can help. Seek therapy. Make sure to continue to take care of yourself. Lean on your support system, and don't hesitate to ask for help. Next time on Wine Therapy.
Majority of the time, like I said, from my childhood to my teen years, and even in my early 20s, I just felt like a burden. You know, I felt like more of a burden, and I'm like a lot of people who have these ideations, you know, I think life would be a little bit better if I wasn't here.
Yes.